connect, share experiences, and advocate for one another can foster a sense of community and empowerment. Highlight women's achievements, celebrate the accomplishments of women in the legal profession to inspire future generations and create a culture of support and encouragement. Amplify women's voices, provide platforms for women, their expertise, perspectives, and insight to help increase their visibility and influence within the legal community. Engage men as allies. Encourage male colleagues to actively support and champion gender equality initiatives, create a more inclusive and collaborative environment. These are all the things that I have listed as the things we need to do to strengthen the place of women. I have brought out the things that we are all aware of. But the real things that will strengthen the place of women in the legal profession, I don't know how many people have read the book, What They Did Not Teach You at Harvard Law School. You won't find them in any textbook. So the things that set us back are very clear. We all know it. All of us on this panel, we know it. But as far as I'm concerned, the most critical person in the journey to strengthening the place of women in the legal profession is undeniably the individual female lawyer. You must understand that your success at the bar is your personal decision and your own choice. Life is a matter of choices. The choices that we make today definitely shape our tomorrow, not just as female lawyers, but as lawyers and human beings in general. I would now bring you to what I have termed the 9 P's for success. Can we scroll up, please? The 9 P's for success. And I'll start with the first one. Purpose. What is your purpose? As you are about to be called to the bar, you must understand or investigate that decision. What is my purpose? Yes, I'm going to be called to the bar. What do I want to do? I'm afraid many of our young female lawyers today, even the male lawyers, don't have an idea of what they want to do. You must have that purpose. For instance, in my first year, after being called to the bar, I had a first degree in political science, did my youth corps, went back to the university to read law from the start. And I said to myself, if I've gone all this way, you know, as a woman, as a young woman, I had met my husband then, and everybody was against me going back to school. They felt that having found a man that your father considered suitable, OCJ, you are laughing because you know my husband. Having found a man that is acceptable to your family, they think you are crazy to want to go back to school to read law. 3 years and law school, and everybody saying another 4 years, but I was determined. So on my first year of call to bar, my purpose was to be a senior advocate of Nigeria. I identified that purpose because from law school, I went into the chambers of Mr. H.A. Ladner. And because I had that ambition, I had that purpose, I made sure I didn't work with anybody who was not a senior advocate of Nigeria. I wanted to learn the trade. So I joined the firm of Mr. H.A. Ladner, the chambers of Mr. H.A. Ladner, SAN, in 1994. No, in 1990, I was called in December 1989. And one of these afternoons, when my boss saw that I was taking the practice serious, I would stay in the office till 10 o'clock as a fresh law graduate. My husband, my boss would virtually come and pack my things. And then one day he called me and said, "Dorothy, meet me in my office. This work you are doing, is it because you have not seen the bank work or the oil company work?" And I said, "No, sir." He said, "So what do you want to do?" I said, "Sir, I want to be a son." And I became a son 20 years after that statement. It took me 20 years. So you must have a purpose. The next one is you must have a plan. If you do not plan to succeed, then you plan to fail. You must plan. So there's no time to waste. You must have a plan. You want to be SAN. What is the trajectory you want to follow? A lot of us don't know it. A lot of us don't have it. When you have identified your purpose and your plan, don't forget it's called the 9 P's. When you've identified your purpose and your plan, you must have a passion. You know why passion is important? You're going to meet several challenges on the way. If you do not have a passion, you will see it as a burden. I have heard young lawyers say, "Oh, I don't like litigation. The courts, there are no ACs. And I'm number 54 on the line, on the cause list. When will I finish?" You know what I did? As a young lawyer, when I went to court, I went with my law reports. I actually enjoyed being number 54. Because when they call the case, I will hear OCJ or Kocha submitting. I will say, "Is this how they do this thing?" You will hear all the SANs first. If somebody comes up and is saying something that is not interesting to me, I open my law report and begin to read. So I was never bored. I saw it as a passion, as a hobby. I never noticed that there were no ACs in the courts. Because for you to be a senior advocate of Nigeria, you must live in the courts. When you have identified that you have the passion, then you must be persistent. You don't receive a no answer and say, "Oh no, this is not for me. I don't have time for this." They tell you come today, you go. They tell you come tomorrow, you go. They tell you again, "No, we didn't have your name on the list." Because you must identify the companies that you want to work for. And I went through serious difficulty to break into the NNPC. Then they were still in Lagos. I kept on going. Every visiting day, I must be in NNPC in Kofo Abayomi. So you have to be persistent. You have to persevere. You have to be proactive. You have to know that there are challenges. So you have to be proactive about how you want to navigate those challenges. You must be painstaking. You must be prepared. I just showed you my manuscript. You must be prepared. And I left the most important one last. Because some of these churches are deceiving us. They feel that once you pray, manners will fall from heaven. They don't. You have to walk the walk, talk the talk, and then pray that God should bless your efforts. You must be dogged, determined with excruciating focus. You must focus on what you have and not dwell on the things you do not have. You must have absolute confidence in yourself, born out of your skills, your integrity, and your knowledge of the law. Again, it's not everybody, but if you desire to be married and combine it with a successful legal practice, I have been married for 35 years. A supportive spouse and a peaceful home is imperative. Now, our matron of the bar called me yesterday and said to me she would have liked to be here. This is a session after her heart, and she gave me certain indices to bring here. She said I must come back and report to her that I've identified the chairman of MBA Ibadan branch, Mrs. Folake Adeniyi. I don't know if she's here. Please, if you are here, you raise up your hand so I can tell our matriarch that I met you. She said I should tell this audience that we should always do the right thing because of our younger ones. She also went as far as saying, when you go to see a man in search of your work, you have to make sure it is in relation to your work. You must have knowledge of the law and expertise. Surprisingly to me, she mentioned the topic, which most of us shy away from. She's 92. She talked about sexual harassment. And she said, in the course of your work, when you think a man is about to or has an interest, you should tell the man, and I'm quoting her, please, let us focus on why I am here. You say it politely, that nobody will beat you, nobody will force you. So we shouldn't make a monster out of the word sexual harassment. Focus on what you are there to do. As a professional, she said, you must be polite even in the face of harassment. It also depends on you what you want to do. Nobody's going to rape you. Your physical, this is from her, and you know she's a woman that is endowed with super intellect and great beauty. She now said, finally, your physical beauty is very important. For example, Mrs. Folake Solanke's son was called to the English bar in 1963 and the Nigerian bar in 1963 and was elevated to the prestigious rank of son in 1981. She is, as far as I'm concerned, my role model, a true symbol of brain and beauty. So, female legal practitioners, the ball is in your court. Let us close our eyes against all the barriers that we are seeing every day. Let us determine to rise up and make something of ourselves in the legal profession. Those who have achieved it don't have two heads. If you focus, you will make it. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow. I'm supposed to be seated. I didn't want to say this in public, but we don't have enough chairs. And I don't know if I sit here. Can you still see me if I perch here? Is that okay? Yeah. So I don't have to stand? Okay, awesome. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, I didn't expect anything less. Mrs. Ufot SAN has taken us the length and breadth of the topic that we have to discuss here today. Giving us an example of the challenges, giving us some tips on how to overcome them. And then she gave us her 9 Ps. And she followed her 9 Ps with real life stories of her own journey and the things she did. I mean, we couldn't have had it any better. And then to top it all, she gave us the advice, some I don't know, gems from Chief Mrs. Sholanke, you know, thank you so much for doing that even extra. We have been blessed. Thank you once again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, without further ado, we're going to go into our panel discussion. I just want to encourage you to keep your questions. We're going to have a very robust Q&A session. I can also mention that Mrs. Ufot's paper has been uploaded onto the Hoover app, so everyone has access to it. If you have signed on, I know MBA encouraged us all to sign on to the app, so you have access to it. If I could just call the tech team to move the podium, I think that might be better. Okay, so from I would like to introduce our panelists. Very brief introduction of each of our panelists. In no particular order, all due respect to our SANs here present, I would like to start with Mrs. Folashade Ali, CARB, on my right. Mrs. Ali is the principal partner of Folashade Ali and Associates, a law firm based in Lagos. She's a practicing lawyer and chartered arbitration of over 35 years. She's a lawyer, of course, also calls to the British Bar. She has a master's degree from University College London. Of course, her focus area is in arbitration. And a key thing you need to know about Mrs. Ali is that she's on the council of the Nigeria Bar Association Women Forum. And last year, she was actually the committee member and head of the advocacy committee, and she spearheaded on the instruction or mandate of the then president of the bar, drafting a sexual harassment policy for the bar, which exists today, for which we are very grateful. Mrs. Ali is the chairman of the International Trade Law Committee committee of the section on business law, and quite a number of other achievements. Please help me and welcome her with a nice resounding welcome. Yes, I would like to also welcome Mr. Kunle Ajabe. Of course, Mr. Ajabe is a partner or lead partner in Aiden Partners, a law firm headquartered in Lagos. He's a corporate and commercial lawyer, and his practice focuses on general corporate transaction advisory, structuring, project and risk management, compliance, and regulatory transactions. For over 2 decades of his legal practice, he's been involved in several high-profile transactions, spanning traditional and emerging issues of corporate and commercial law. I'd like to